For more on this situation, I want to bring on Jonathan Gilliam, a former Navy SEAL, FBI agent, and best-selling author. Jonathan, I'm really happy to have you on today because you're a perfect guy to talk about these latest developments. You've been in the FBI, you know a little bit about the process that goes on behind the scenes. So when you see these latest developments regarding Michael Flynn, what is your response?
Well, it's interesting. I can't say that it's a surprise. You know, we know that Strzok and Page and McCabe and Comey and all these characters are very corrupt. And there's also other people that are involved whose names have never been brought about, because these people, as we see, may not take the notes or write the 302, but they have the ability to manipulate that. And sometimes that's knowing manipulation by the people who wrote it. They hand it up, and these executives will manipulate this stuff. What's very interesting about this, let's start from the very basics of when you go to question somebody. I talked to several FBI agents that I'm still good friends with, and a former prosecutor. And I asked them all the question: when you go to interview somebody, what is your main objective? And their main objective, without a doubt, 100%, is to find out if there is evidence of guilt. That's the reason why they got into the job, is to go after criminals, not to go and see if they can get someone fired. Right. As soon as we heard that, what you're seeing is motive, and the motive of these agents is not to find a criminal and get rid of them. It is to destroy somebody politically.
I think that's a really interesting point, because a lot of people are saying that that is exactly evidence of a perjury trap. There wasn't an actual crime there, so they tried to essentially create one in order to try to get the process of Michael Flynn flipping to get the whole investigation started into other members of the Trump administration. It's similar type of allegations that we hear about Carter Page, acknowledging the fact that a lot of the FISA warrants maybe weren't warranted in hindsight, acknowledging that the dossier was used, other type of information like that. So there seems to be a common theme among members of the FBI when it comes to the allegations against the Trump administration. A lot of the claims aren't necessarily substantiated, but they were moved forward with anyway. And I think this speaks to a larger, maybe, skepticism that a lot of people have about the FBI at the very moment. A lot of people saying that they don't believe that this was just low-level FBI agents. A lot of people saying that hopefully in the Durham report we'll get a little bit more light about this, about how high it went. Is that your understanding of within the FBI, that this wouldn't be decisions made by just lower-level agents?
Well, okay. First of all, I applaud Maria Bartiromo and the clip that you played of her, because as far as the investigations that are happening, and there's 3 or 4 of these investigations going on, there's nothing coming out of this. But now let's look back at what we were saying before about how this investigation is actually rolling. If we were to go out and do what Peter Strzok and the rest of them did to the Trump administration, the FBI overall would be so criminal that there's no way it could ever sustain itself. It would be obvious, and they wouldn't hire ethical people to come in there in the first place. What we see, though, when we look at not just the Flynn investigation, but the fake dossier and the evidence that they used to get these FISA warrants, which were fake, and then the way this stuff was laid out, is exactly the way Strzok and the other agents went and questioned Flynn. If your objective is to jam someone up, not because they're a criminal and you're trying to find the evidence, but to go in there and create, it's called entrapment. And you're going to entrap somebody by creating this stuff. If you write a fake dossier and you get a FISA, you can then send sources in that are Russian assets that you may have contact with and set up meetings just so you can record these people talking and then make up whatever you want about them. And that's exactly what happened to Flynn. This entire thing is such a travesty to the legal system and to what this country was founded on, that for me, it points to something even further than trying to get the president out of office. I believe there's clear evidence when you look at all of these people, you look at their motive, you see a conspiracy, and that conspiracy is to change the form of government that we have in this country, to overthrow how we elect people and actually how the republic is governed.
And I've heard you voice concerns that this may not necessarily be the last time we see something like this happening. In fact, General Stanley McChrystal, he's using DARPA technology, something that you've taken issue with. Can you explain for me and our viewers why you have concerns about that?
Because McChrystal is under the same ideological motivation as the rest of these people. And you have to understand in Washington, D.C., these people are all these senior executive people in the DOD and the FBI and the CIA and all these individuals. They live in the same neighborhoods. They go to the same churches. They go and shop at the same grocery stores. They know each other. And it's clear, I think, when from an investigator standpoint, when you lay out all these individuals and all these things that have happened since right before the president came in office, what you see is the same behavior that General McChrystal is showing with this company to use this technology to go out and literally smother the voice of conservatives or Trump backers. And it's all the same conspiracy. We are already seeing right now, before the election, the same type of maneuvering, whether it's by McChrystal or governors, to try to get where you can have mail-in ballots, and tell me how that's not going to be corrupted. You're already starting to see the formation of another set of tactical maneuvers by the left in order to overthrow our ability to vote someone in office that the people want. And I can only say listen, I believe there's tons of evidence to show that the narrowly defined crime of treason can be applied to this whole group of conspirators. People will give me blowback because they say treason, that's a very narrowly defined thing and it's got to be foreign. Doesn't mention foreign war or foreign aspects of enemy anywhere in the definition. And the most dangerous thing about all the stuff that's going on is that these are the people that run the government.
Right. And that's what
how do you investigate that?
Well, that's what a lot of people are calling for. We were saying Maria Bartiromo before, but it's also other conservatives, too. They're calling on their Republican colleagues in the Senate to exercise some of that oversight so we can get more information into this. I think that's a good first step when it comes to this, because we've heard a lot of claims of just wait until that report for years at this point now, and now we're in another situation where we're waiting on the Durham report. I think a lot of people are sick of waiting, and they want to see some answers, even publicly, in those Senate type of trials. So I think that'll be interesting to keep an eye on. Jonathan Gilliam, thank you very much for coming on and breaking down this very complicated issue. Thank you.